welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming here.
This is a lot of fun. Everybody, we have Carlos Alazraqui, and you picked Los Cochinos.
Los Cochinos. I mean, I also grew up with the Bill Cosby record when I was very, very young. Bill Cosby is a very fun fellow, the famous
course.
Nova Fuba. Here's a guy on his way to work. I always remember like that whistle he did. Hey, you want to move this out of my driveway? I gotta go to work. I can't. Well, you want to tell me what this is for? I can't. You want to give me a hint? I can't tell you. How long can you tread water? Ha ha ha, I remember that, yeah. And he turned around, in his pocket, turned around, it was a midget. Took all these karate lessons, and I remember all that stuff. But Los Cochinos was formative because it was 6th grade. I was 12 years old, and I moved to Fresno, California. And I believe that maybe this was one of the few records that I got that wasn't the influence of my older brother, and none of us were into drugs or smoking pot,
Sure,
or just the comedy per se. But we got Big Bamboo was the other one. I remember we didn't have Big Bamboo, or we did have the other one, the Big Pill. It was a big the red one.
Yeah.
Technical Women's Alert Team, the twat. Oh God, it was a druggie, the sleeping pill, the Big Red Beauty or something like that. Big Red Beauty, I think it was called. Or something.
Sounds right. Yeah.
But Los Cochinos, I remember the pull out when your wife gave me this. I remember, pulling it out, and then on the other side was all the marijuana, buried inside the door. And this album just feels—it's a time capsule, man. It just feels like I'm back home. We used to have a Magnavox stereo, 2 speakers and a turntable. Not even a cassette,
Sure.
And I used to listen to this album on that, just laid by the speakers. And wasn't into pot, never have smoked pot. But there was something about these characters that, that's a lost art. It's creating, because it wasn't stand-up, it was sketch.
Yeah.
And I had some Python records. This record have been designed specifically to fit exactly over your record holder. Welcome to version B, the executive version. But I had a couple Python records, but that was after this. Los Cochinos were very formative for me. 6 years old, 12 years old, pre-middle school, awkward adolescence, and here were these guys, I just saw the sketch Jabornik, what that? I don't know. Look like dog shit? Yeah. Smell like dog shit? Yeah. Taste like dog shit? Yeah. Taste. No. Pick up. No. Pick up. Taste. Taste like dog shit? Yeah. Good thing I know step in it. It's like an old vaudeville joke dressed up in Jabornik. 30 Days of Night with Josh Hartnett, some vampire thing. And Dr. Stadenko, everything. Up his nose it goes. And it all comes flooding back, and it's something that I've completely compartmentalized. But I actually worked with Cheech Marin on a movie called Brothers Garcia in Mexico. Jeff Valdez produced a series called The Brothers Garcia. They go to Mexico. Me and a comic named Phil Van T played these bumbling idiots, a la 101 Dalmatians, Cruella de Vil's sidekicks. Okay. You imbeciles! And we were working for Cheech Marin's character, who steals an ancient codex out of a pyramid, and but working with Cheech Marin, who I grew up listening to. Very nice guy. He was out there with a pitching wedge every day, out in front of his bungalow, just practicing pitches and talking about buying Chicano art and talking about the beginning of Cheech and Chong. Both of them were draft dodgers. I mean, Tommy Chong was Canadian already, living in Vancouver, and Chong was like, I wanted to get out of the fucking war, so we went. I met this guy, and we were doing improv in a strip club. They had the strippers go up, and then we would do our improv. Oh my God. And we sometimes included them. They fucking sucked. And he goes, I remember Tommy was his brother was really strong, and he was like a bouncer for us. And one day we lived on the 2nd floor, and one day he threw this guy off the 2nd floor into a dumpster. Man, he was fucking weird, but it was just sort of a Woodstocky, hippie. Instead of music, it was comedy.
Yeah.
And you could see that. This album, while appearing to be just 2 guys goofing around, is kind of tightly produced,
Yeah.
Class, will you shut up? Yeah, gee, sister. Class, can anybody guess what this substance is? Pot, Acapulco Gold, homegrown. Oh, it's Michoacan, man. It's Michoacan. Homegrown. Why, this is true. They do seem mighty well informed. Oh, they are. Like, just last week I gave out 15 holy cards. And he used to repeat that, not even knowing what it was.
Of course, yeah.
And there's a sketch on here, because I got in trouble with 6th grade. We're eating dinner in Fresno, and we're eating something, and my brother goes, this tastes like, and I'm like, gonorrhea. Are you tired of the steady drip, 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 drip of gonorrhea? I think that's the plumbing one.
Yes, it is. Peter Rooter.
Peter Rooter, yeah. I didn't know what that meant. And as my daughter walks by in her Rapunzel princess, she went to princess camp.
That's amazing.
And I'm wondering if there's things now that my 3-year-old daughter will see. Mm-hmm. One day we were flipping through the channel. I love The Exorcist. I'm an Exorcist-ophile. Counted the steps at Georgetown. There's 72, by the way. And they added 18 for the stuntman so he could jump out the window and not have to hurl a long distance. But we were watching the scene where Regan is flapping back and forth on the bed, done by practical makeups. Mm-hmm. Make it stop! She's like, that's funny, play it again. I'm like, okay, this has got to stop. But this was the type of thing, this record was the type of thing that just hit my sweet spot. I just loved that the drive-in. I just was, even before we talked about Los Cochinos, I was talking about the drive-in thing with somebody else. Like, how many of there are you? Okay, like there's like 1 or 2 that there's like me and him, like we're just together. I mean, we're not like together. So there's just the 2 of us. That'll be $1. And then they're all trapped in the. Hey man, it's raining out here, man. It's raining. What was the bit? Ladies and gentlemen, everybody in this room have a 1 kilo. And the name of that killer is... Ladies and gentlemen, snack bar open another 15 minutes. After that is closed for ending. Then I had him check. Oh, my back teeth are floating. Hope the speaker reaches. Puchka pesta. And he farts inside the car. But it took me to this trunk full of people that are at a drive-in. And Cheech is pissing on the hood. And, somebody... And going to the snack bar, man. Going to the snack bar. I never knew that these guys were high on drugs. Yeah. It didn't even occur to me. That was irrelevant to me. It just painted a world to me where they were in a classroom, they were in a courtroom. I said, Judge, I was home in bed. He said, Judge, that man's lying. I've been framed. And then Basketball Jones, the song, Basketball Jones, got a Basketball Jones. It just occurred to me that these guys were fucking up and cutting up with no planning whatsoever and creating all these worlds that my mind went to. Yeah. And I was in it. And you could say that that's what led to my stand-up comedy career. That and Carol Burnett, wanted to do sketch. But I remember that this, I could, even before she pulled it, I saw this album cover in my head. The sort of off mint green with the cactuses in the background and the pot in the door. It's like it doesn't look foreign to me. It looks like this is mine.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about vinyl. And now that I see the back cover where they're all dressed up like women, and it didn't occur to me that one guy was Mexican and the other guy was sort of Canadian, Asian, whatever hybrid that he was.
Yeah.
It's just 2 guys that were funny. Yeah. Like the Three Stooges to me. So, but I listened to this album probably 4 days a week.
It's awesome.
And I had it memorized. It was so good.
Yeah. Were you doing it for friends or were you repeating it?
I was. Yeah. Absolutely. I was imitating everything, Dr. Stadenko? What was his name? Dr. Stadenko.
There's Sergeant Stadenko and then there's Dr. Now I can't remember the name of the doctor.
Yeah, Sergeant Stadenko and up his nose it goes. The White World of Sports, Chibornik Les Morpions, the Drive-In. 12 minutes and 44 seconds.
That's the other thing about this album is like I discussed this album with Dan Backadall. This is the one he picked, and he just kind of did track by track, nothing autobiographical too much. But yeah, it's one thing that kind of blew our minds is neither of us realized it was a 13-minute track.
Yeah, the drive-in bit.
And it's really, again, like you said, beautifully produced, like really beautifully produced, which I did not realize Lou Adler produced this and most of their stuff. Like Lou Adler, who's so famous for doing as many wonderful music things as he did. I think this is his only comedy, and he just put so much effort into it.
And recorded at Andre Studios in Montreal.
Oh, that's right.
And then Electric Lady Studios, New York City, A&M Studios, Hollywood. So different studios. You know, to me as a kid, it's just that they went in a room and turned on a mic and made these things up. And my brother and I used to do little sketches like that too.
Yeah.
You know, I would announce ping pong. It was all based on being able to verbally create a world when you weren't there, but not carefully writing it. We would just...
Sure.
These guys had obviously... And I guess, at this point, they had been doing these bits on stage before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, starting to think, up his nose it goes. It's a Jewish doctor, and I didn't realize they were making fun of Jewish people.
Well, no, I didn't either. That was the thing we talked about the last time that
I had no idea. Up his nose it goes.
Right.
He's got four knocks up his nose. Listen. Just last week, I put 4 quarters up his nose. What's his name?
It's killing me.
It's escaping me. I have a vinyl player. I should have brought it in here. We can go in the other room and play it. But yeah, I remember when I just saw Chabornik, I go, of course, Chabornik. Now it's funny looking at these titles. I don't remember the Evelyn Woodhead Speed Reading Course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Strawberry Revival Festival. I don't remember, but I remember Dave. Dave's not here.
Of course.
Pedro and the Man.
I'm curious too, like as far as voices. I mean, I think nobody's going to turn to Tommy Chong for voice flexibility, but Cheech is pretty damn great.
Yeah, he was.
So many voices.
Shut up. Yeah, the name of the killer is. Yeah. Up his nose it goes. Jabornik, what that? Oh, that's it. And the Basketball Jones song is actually not too bad.
No,
it could have been in He Got Game, you know. But yeah, so here's these guys going to Canada, smoking the Canada weed, super high all the time, kind of like Fishbone, but putting together an album that a straight kid that, in terms of not my sexuality, that's a given, or is it? But no drugs, no nothing. I was an athlete. I was a jock. I certainly wasn't into theater per se, but bought into this. You know, It just got in my wheelhouse, and obviously paved the way for a career where you could be an adult and still act like a kid.
Yeah,
you know, and it has segued into all kinds of other stuff. God, yeah, I love that drive-in bit, and it kind of made me want to go to the drive-in, you know, and sneak people in. We snuck in to see Roy Scheider's movie. It was the 7-Ups.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the first breasts I ever saw on film through a corrugated fence in Fresno in '74, and it was probably because I listened to this album. You know, I wanted to go sneak in. And we did sneak in. We didn't have speakers because we didn't have a car. We just snuck in through the fence. But yeah, I could see. I could really see the world where they were. You know.
Did you buy it yourself, or was it given to you?
As I said, my brother usually got all the music that I listened to. He was 2.5 years older. I want to say that I bought this myself, and maybe because it was recommended by a friend at high school or in 6th grade. But certainly my parents didn't buy it for me.
Right.
So I think I had this 5th grade going into 6th grade. What year is this, by the way? Because it is 1970. Copyright 1973. So yeah, I would have been 11 years old. So that's right on point. 73 is when The Exorcist comes out. The aforementioned Exorcist comes out the same year as well. Coincidence? I don't think so.
No, clearly not.
Pazuzu. There's a Pazuzu bit on here if you play it backwards. But yeah, I don't think I had. Like I said, I grew up with the Bill Cosby album because that's
what your parents had.
That's what my parents had. Very clean. We grew up watching Bob Newhart and Carol Burnett.
Sure.
And that's in terms of late night shows, All in the Family. So there was nothing really approaching the gonorrhea, making fun of Jewish people, making fun of racial stereotypes.
Sure.
Catholicism. Nothing bordering on that. So I don't know how. This felt like a dirty secret. I remember my parents not liking it. And certainly after that, when I said gonorrhea, it was that classic, drop the fork, clang, food falling out of the mouth. What did you just say? Gonorrhea. Isn't that funny? I didn't know what gonorrhea was.
Right, it's just a keyword as far as
you said you were tired of sitting drip of gonorrhea.
Do you remember the first... Did you ever have the opportunity to, sort of use one of these voices? One that was you probably have them without realizing it, just stored up, right?
Yeah, that high pitch. Class, like just last week, yes. Everybody's used that one. Did it my left. I've used that one, and if you're doing a stone dude, for sure it's gonna be Tommy Chong, man. Yeah, I never did, man. Yeah, what's that from? Is that from the courtroom one? I never did, man.
I think so, yeah.
I never did, man. I think it's the courtroom one.
I think so. I didn't get to listen to it either beforehand. This is the issue.
That's okay. I didn't want to because I wanted to remember it how I remembered it in sort of pieces and fragments and what really stood out. I mean, from that point of view. I don't know if other podcasts have gone this way, but it comes back because I wanted to treat it in a way that it was organically compartmentalized and see what came back.
Yeah.
And like I said, the other night I was doing that line. The name of tequila is, ladies and gentlemen, it's not part of another 15 minutes. After that, it's close for ending. And that'll be, my brother and I used to repeat that all the time. So there's one or two, that'll be $1. They're haggling over 50 cents per person and they got 8 people in the trunk.
Did you know what your next comedy album was after this?
It probably was Big Bamboo because somebody had suggested it.
Okay.
And Sleeping Beauty was the name of that album.
There you go. Yep.
Yes. Technical Women's Alert Team. Twat. I didn't know what that meant either.
Of course. Well, that's the one thing about, again, I wasn't a stoner either, but I grew up loving this stuff, and I always sort of tried to think, what drew me to it. And I'm still not sure if it was the voices more or if it was the characters more. I want to say the characters because it sounds high-minded, but it might be the right thing.
You would have been older than I was.
When I first discovered it, I was 13 when I first heard it.
Yeah.
It was, 20 years ago when I first heard it, so...
right, but during a different decade.
Sure.
Because this was the 70s. Mm-hmm. This was as we were going from the 60s into the 70s and the counterculture of San Francisco and Stanton Street and Haight-Ashbury. And I was a kid in suburban Concord, California, who was going to move at least for 1 year to Fresno, California, while my dad was a librarian and my mom was switching over to the seminary. Mm-hmm. And a jock, swim team, paper route, played football. I had no leanings towards being dramatic or anything, aside from watching it on TV.
Right.
And so this, since I was a kid, always pretending to be somebody else in my head, this just, like I said, it struck a chord. More so because I wasn't seeing it. Mm-hmm. I was watching Monty Python on TV, so when I later translated to the album, I could already picture this. I didn't know what these guys looked like.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was them, and I was still trying to picture who was doing which voice on the thing. I had never seen them.
Yeah.
But I didn't go on to see Up in Smoke.
Sure.
By that time, I had grown out of it.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't know Cheech and Chong. And I always call it Cheech Chong. Mm-hmm. We didn't say Cheech and Chong. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know it was a Mexican and possibly a French-Canadian guy living in Montreal. I had no idea. It was just these two guys. I don't really think I know what Los Cochinos meant, and now, of course, it means pigs, which is ironic because that's what they would call the people that would be searching for their drugs. But it's like you know what it is? It's really kind of sappy and schmaltzy, but it's like seeing an old friend.
Yeah,
it's like seeing a babysitter because quite literally, it was a babysitter. It kept me. Where's Carlos? Well, he's not outside doing drugs or anything. He's stuck by the stereo, flipping the 33 RPM thing over and over again. I would sit there and listen to it and turn it over and listen to it again.
It's so good.
So it was my babysitter, and it did. It took me to the drive-in. I know it. It was a Friday night. It was like 7:30 p.m. It was dark outside. It was the summer. I'm there, and the classroom. I can, you see the classroom. You see the courtroom setting. I still want to get that name.
There's the interesting thing too is like in listening to these, obviously using your imagination, you have this whole picture in your head, and you were talking earlier about I think a lot of comedians did, and I know I did as a kid. You recorded your own sketches, but in your head, what's great is they're as well produced as everything you just heard on that.
Yeah,
you know. You've absorbed this, and you really think you're just translating to everybody. You do not appreciate what's being... Obviously, you're not going to appreciate what's being put into this album. As far as you're concerned, anybody who listens to this will be like, oh, this is just as good as Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, you know, the closest we've come to approximating that now as an adult is on Mondo Media still, on YouTube. You can look up Off the Curb, and my wife sound edited it. I got John DiMaggio, Gary Anthony Williams, Cedric Yarbrough, Fred Tatasciore, Eric Bowles, and myself. The premise is to do the right thing. 4 black guys sitting at a table on the sidewalk, Filipino bakery owner, and they start arguing just like they would have do the right thing. And it came off a riff with John DiMaggio and I when we were doing El Tigre, which was created by Jorge Gutierrez, who's now producing and directing Book of Life, which comes out in Halloween. I'm in that. Yay, plug.
Awesome.
But
looks amazing.
we just started riffing because we're white and we like to play black guys. And he said, man, you Frankenstein will whoop Dracula's ass. Oh, hell no, man. Frankenstein, he's dead already, and then he'd be asleep, and Dracula would sneak up on him and bite him in the neck. Oh, hell no. Frankenstein would walk up and punch Dracula in the mouth. And so we thought, that's a great riff. And so let's add a whole cast.
Yeah.
Let's add me as a Filipino bakery owner who's... all these guys are always outside, and they are not paying for the bill, but they are my customers, and I have to ask them, please don't swear for the other guy, fuck off. And they never get my name right. And what we did is we turned this, we called it Monster Track at first, because that was the first sketch. It was basically 57 minutes of let's have John DiMaggio start off with, and it's like I was telling you last time, that Frankenstein will whoop Dracula's ass. Oh, hell no. That ain't gonna help him. Let me tell you why. Frankenstein's got 2 smelly bolts stuck in his neck. And first of all, hell no, Willie. Frankenstein will come up on Dracula and punch him right in the mouth. And then Fred Tatasciore chimes in. First of all, I have to correct you, gentlemen. It's not Frankenstein. Frankenstein is the name of the doctor. Frankenstein is not the monster's name. The monster's name is Tomas. Tomas? Man, I ain't gonna let no monster named Tomas whoop my ass. Hell no. If there was a monster named Laser or Fligo, I'd be running from that shit. And it just... all improv, all jazz, going all different directions. My wife got it down to 3 minutes. And it is great. You're like listening to these guys go back and forth. That, even the 57-minute jazz version is pretty good.
Yeah.
But what we needed... was they had was to refine it, edit it, put it down to make it look like those bits came up on top of each other. There were some that did, but that was as close as I've come to, aside from recording my stand-up or something or selling a DVD. But the stand-up is not sketches per se. There's sketches in your head. Yeah. This was a 5-person, and then Eric Bowles came in later and played My Wife Alerta. Man, what's your favorite Halloween candy? I like the Cadbury, y'all. And then I made chocolate bananas. This is This is my wife Alerta. Holy shit, Alerta. And she's like a knockout blonde with fake breasts. And I can show you how I can eat a banana in one. I can swallow it. Hold on, Alerta. Gotta get my cell phone out. You know. Hold on. Now look, I want to. Do you like it? Oh my god. And. You know, we created this audio world, first of all, where people heard it and they're laughing, and then we added the animation.
Right.
So we were able to do those kinds of things with the skilled voiceover actors, certainly not as kids. We didn't approach that, like you said, but the closest we came is when we're at, very recently, a couple of years ago, I'm trying to recreate that again. When we did it, we engineered it, we edited it, and then added animation. But I think it was because of these types of experiences that I had listening to this that I had some sort of an idea or a skill set to approximate what these guys were doing.
Yeah.
And it's so rare. You don't see comedy albums anymore. You know, could you do Mr. Show with Bob and Bob Odenkirk and Oh my gosh.
David Cross.
And David Cross and make
As
it
an
work.
album. Right. Yeah, I know.
Without the visuals.
That's very difficult. I've been wondering that myself.
You know, I don't know. That was what was so brilliant about that. You could be blind and appreciate this album because they created the world for you. And that's a skill that's missing. And I think you can. I'm very proud of that. If you listen to the audio, the finished audio, or even the jazz audio of Off the Curb, granted, they don't take you to specific situations like a doctor's office, or this is just guys at a table, but hopefully they're letting you paint pictures in your head.
Yeah.
And that's what's underrated about that, you know? To get a kid that's not a stoner, that's not an actor, that's a total jock, to paint pictures in his head, get you to paint pictures in your head when you heard it. It's a pretty damn good skill.
It's one of those things where I know, and I don't know why, but this was the peak of it because radio had its own day, but it was definitely complicated. Obviously, there's one dude or one lady there with a bunch of wooden doors and shit to clang around to make awesome noises. And it's great. Doing it live, which is a skill that nobody has anymore. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say nobody can do that. Then there's this where you have all the money in the world or whatever, and you have all these skills and you get to put it together in a room, and it's pre-digital. But once we're digital, once most comedy albums are stand-up albums, gone. Almost entirely. There's a podcast called Super Ego that's great, but that's about the only thing right now that's out there doing this.
Yeah, I would love to tune into something like that. Something that approximated live is Thrilling Adventure Hour with Ben Acker and Ben Blacker, and their cast, and Paul F. Tompkins and Paget Brewster and all the guest celebrities. I've done about 5 or 6. We take you back now to the older days with the Work Juice Players.
So good.
The slide whistle and the live band with Andy Paley. And that can approximate it, but to hear something, it almost it inspires me to want to do stuff like that again and try that now that I'm adult. Now that I have that skill, is maybe could I write something weekly? Or, this took a lot of, obviously they recorded it at a lot of different studios.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not sure, and I would have to go back check. I don't know if they were doing these bits already on stage.
Right, and I don't know.
That I don't know, or if the stage show came after that.
And I also want to know who polished it, if it was Lou Adler saying, guys, you're all over the fucking place, why don't you try this? But I don't know if he's a comedy guy at all. I don't know. He might just be like, here's what sounds brilliant, you guys do the comedy. I'm trying to get him on the podcast to ask him that very question. I'm very curious. Yeah,
what was a 12-minute and 44-second finish bit? What did that start as?
Right.
Did they just smoke a bowl and go, dude, remember that fucking time we went to the drive-in, let's do fucking sketch, and then I'll pretend I farted, and you go out of the car, and you gotta go to the snack bar, and then I'll fucking pee on the trunk. They taught me how to do that. Hey, you guys never see it, it's raining out here. It's raining like cats and dogs.
And that's the other thing too, is like there's this sort of joy in doing these voices where I think there's a PC contingent, and I might at one point have counted myself among them, that's just like, oh, don't do that voice, you're not that color, you're not allowed to do that voice, or you didn't grow up in a certain culture, you're not allowed to. But they don't do it in any, they're not trying to be offensive, they're just like, here's a fun voice to do, which is a very vaudeville thing to do, sort of, I think. It
is very vaudeville. I remember doing stand-up at the Holy City Zoo, and I did a bit about going to United Savings, which is right next door to the Holy City Zoo on 5th and Clement, and they were Chinese guys, and I literally would have a language problem. Hey, Mr. Carlo, you, Mr. We'll call you Carlo. And they're like, hey, man, I drew $20 of the ATM. I didn't draw any money out of my ATM, and it's showing that I made a withdrawal. Can you fix that? Oh, yeah, you can use the ATM anytime you want. And I remember doing the bit and somebody going, that's kind of racist. And I go, well, I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to recreate what I saw. I didn't say, oh, I'm a bad driver. I don't know how to drive. I'm so bad at driving, and I like to squint my eyes, and I have buck teeth. I'm saying, no, this is what the person sounded like. Yeah. But in that age of PC, I wasn't allowed to do it. I was like, whoa. I don't remember that being a problem before. Right. Obviously there's Mickey Rooney and
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's. You keep a noise down! Now that is another thing.
Yes, entirely.
For me to say what I heard and what I saw, it's interesting because I grew up, my best friend's parents were from Scotland. John and Mary Henning, I grew up listening to that and all those characters at the house. And nobody has a problem with that.
Yeah.
You know, and you could see they were stereotypical characters, you know. But it's interesting, these guys were completely free from that. And, you know, they did have interactions, you know. Again, I didn't know what a Jewish person was in Concord, California.
Sure.
And it never even occurred to me until I was older. It's like, oh yeah, God, they're making fun of Jews. He's sticking it up his big nose. You know, oh wow. Now, man, I guess, but they didn't care. That's like, no, the movie is fucking. It was probably part and parcel, or an effect of them being in Canada, where it didn't matter.
Right.
Canadians are like, have a labatse. We all make fun of each other, so don't worry about it. You know?
Yeah.
You don't worry. We're sorry if you're offended. So, yeah, maybe they were free from some sort of American political correctness. But in 73, you know, you could do the horror movies where Regan was shoving a cross and saying the C word. She was do you know what she did, your cunting daughter? You know, and that's what the reality was.
Right.
You know, you imagine that dialogue now would be probably even worse.
Oh yeah.
You know, you would probably have people protesting somebody saying that now. And in 73, we're just like, we're opening up to the sexual revolution, and they were that was part of the 73 era, maybe, and that's what was beautiful about it, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously, somebody like me listened to it, and that didn't. I remember. I'm going to go off on a tangent, but I listened to Judas Priest too, and I remember the movie Dream Deceivers, where the kids blew off their face. One kid tried to, and beautiful film, and all these lyrics of Beyond the Realms of Death, and I listened to that fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know, it has nothing to do with it. I listened to Cheech and Chong. I'm not walking around saying gonorrhea and all these nose it goes. It was just comedy.
Yeah.
You know, so it'd be silly. Now in 2014, we've regressed. You know, there's half the country that wants to go back to the way it used to be.
Sure.
And I think that permeates into the arts. Getting off on a tangent, but that was what was so beautiful about it. That they could say this stuff to a suburban kid, and I would find it funny.
Yeah.
I didn't, like I said, and say gonorrhea at the dinner table. That's probably what they wanted to happen.
Yeah.
And then I got a little smack on the hand. I was like, then let me go look up and see what that is. Oh, okay, that's not nice to say, but it sounds funny.
Right.
Did they do a play off that song when you're sliding in the third gonorrhea?
I don't.
Gonorrhea.
Not that they did. No.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but I don't know why. Again, it's like an old friend, because as a kid that was a latchkey kid, it was either watch cartoons after school or do this.
Yeah.
And this took the place of cartoons. This was more adult than cartoons.
Sure.
And it sustained and suspended my attention for, like I say, an hour and a half. I'd flip it over, and I think that's a good thing.
I think so too. You know what? Like I always like to ask. Like, so if there's right now, actually, if there's an 11-year-old, you should not be listening to my podcast. Actually, it's fine. Go ahead. But your parents are maybe not that great. But still, if you're listening to my podcast, great. Now, if there's an 11-year-old listening to this, why should this 11-year-old somehow seek out this album?
An 11-year-old should seek out this album because it'll expand in whatever direction it does go. It will expand your imagination and your brain.
Yeah.
If it takes you down a dark path, then follow that, see what that does for you. I don't submit that it will.
Right.
That's why you should, because get off the iPad. My freaking daughter's 3 years old and she's addicted to it.
Oh, no.
Because fuck, do I eat or do I go to the bathroom or do I sleep? What do I do? Well, the iPad will give me 20 minutes with which to decide. Get off the cell phone, get off the iPad, put on don't put on a vinyl. Listen to the crackle of the record. I have some old Studio One ska stuff, some John Lee Hooker. My neighbor was selling a boxed set of Johnny Cash. I didn't even like Johnny Cash, but I had to have it.
Oh, shit.
You know, Folsom Prison Blues.
That's amazing.
She's got rhythm. She's got rhythm. And it just, this will take you on to a bygone era that's no... You know, it's fading. It's a time capsule. It's fading quickly.
Yeah. So
an 11-year-old should embrace what preceded the internet and see where everything came from. It's like it's an archaeological dig.
Definitely.
You know, my daughter watches Annie, and I hated musicals until I had a daughter, and we watched the John Huston version with Tim Curry and Albert Finney and Carol Burnett, and one of the scenes is Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow, is doing the doing the sound effects. And, this is Daddy Warbucks, and we're looking for a girl's parents, and Peter Marshall to doing the old slide whistle and the radio plays and stuff.
Shit. Yeah.
And it's awesome how we just used to. That's what this is. That's what this drew from.
Yeah.
Radio plays, an adult contemporized '73 drug-influenced, drug-riddled radio play that, because of their imagination, still, like I said and reiterate, captured the mind of a 11-year-old, 12 going on 12-year-old suburban kid that probably wanted to be a little darker than I was, because I was a jock and I was a good kid and had a paper out, and wow, this is kind of really cool. It's my little secret.
That's awesome. So, comedy ruined you. That's good. That's awesome.
It did ruin me. Yeah, it transported me, and I think it gave me. It was one of the influences for me to do characters.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like hey fucker, like now when I do hey fucker, fucking Lakers, or if I do a voiceover and they want it like an East LA, I could trace it back to Cheech Marin. You know,
yeah.
And now here's this guy who was on Nash Bridges and went through a lot of divorces and he buys Chicano art now, and I remember he just told me the story. We were just sitting out we were in Chichen Itza in the Yucatan doing the movie, and just one day, and he wasn't stoned, he just told me, I was like, how did you guys start? And he said, yeah, dude, I went to get away from the war, and I ran into this guy in Vancouver, and this is how it all went down. I was like, wow. I go, dude, I used to listen to your albums. I was one of those guys.
Yeah, of course.
People come up to me, I grew up watching rock. I was like, I'm the old guy now. But Cheech Marin was my guy.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And he was like kind of flattered,
That's awesome.
It's lovely. I think more than any stand-up record, like I said, I had Bill Cosby, and I can imagine when Bill Cosby painted great pictures too, but this was sketch. This was different, subversive, and I'm proud that I liked it so much. I forgot about it.
Yeah,
it was dormant.
Right.
No,
I'm glad, because I'm always I will never get tired of talking about Cheech and Chong. Even again, like I said, not as a stoner. It's art, and it's fucking fantastic. I'm glad you're willing to talk about it. And
in some respects, it follows the classic. My friend and I, Vince Don Vito, are doing a show called Live from the Bowl. It's two bathroom brothers, Hank and Frank Azzarito, and we used to interview celebrities at the LaGuardia Airport Grill, Terminal 2, and against the unauthorized on the security camera. Now we bring the show live to you. And we've had Ross Marquand and Jim Meskimen and Eric Bowser and Fred Tatasciore as our celebrity guests. But right now we're trying to figure out, the show works fine because the talent is good, but we don't know what our relationship is.
Okay.
We haven't figured that out. And this is Laurel and Hardy. This is Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
Ostensibly, Cheech is the straight man, the smarter one. He's the Lou Costello, right?
No, wait.
Hey, Abbott.
Yeah.
He's the Bud Abbott.
Yeah, he's Bud Abbott, right.
And he's the Oliver Hardy. He's the straight one. And like you said, vaudeville. And Tommy Chong is so he's Stanley Laurel. He's the Lou Costello. It follows a classic theme. Straight man, smart guy, stupid guy.
Yeah.
Daring guy, cautious guy. It follows, and that's why it works. They're very
amazing that it
archetypically placed in the right position. They have that guy that's like, dude, I don't know. It's a great idea, man. It's a fucking great idea. No, I don't think that's fucking right, dude. You're fucking no, that's fucking dangerous. Don't worry about it, man. We'll be fine. And you could probably see that really was their relationship.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
Tommy, he said, was this big, strong guy. He and his brothers that would beat up people in the alley. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you beating? Because he didn't pay, man.
Oh my god.
You gotta fucking pay.
Holy shit.
Dude, you're gonna fucking break his neck. There's a reality to you throwing him off the fucking second floor into a dumpster. Well, she said, I think he's all right.
Oh my God.
It kind of sounded like that was their natural dynamic already.
Wow.
Like, hey man, can I fucking crash from you? I'm fucking getting out of the Vietnam War. Yeah, man, you can crash. You could get in trouble. Yeah, probably could. Probably all that shit was going on.
Yeah.
and that just fed into the relationship, you know.
Yeah.
To some extent, Cedric and I had that on Reno 911.
Yeah.
I was sort of the older brother, serious type. He was the I'll fuck anything type. Really cool, but not cool with my racism. I was the old guy. He was the young guy. I was the straight guy. He was the goofy guy. You know? So, big influence on my career for sure. And not knowing that, again, that they followed the rules of those guys that, as we just discussed, preceded them. But they did it beautifully in that 1973 drug vibe. Because without that, it would have been just two guys fucking around in the studio.
Definitely, yeah.
And without Lou Adler's influence, like you say, of going, he probably did. He probably goes, you know, why don't you be a little bit smarter and why don't you be stupider? Why don't you, Cheech, you're the guy that's going to handle the great voices. You know, Tommy, you just hang right here.
Yes.
This is the way this is going to work. You know, why can't we just fucking smoke high and say shit? No, you can, but that won't sell.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I just think, we had no idea.
Of course not.
No idea that there was actual work that went into this. But I'm guessing, like, my experience on Reno, thank God, with Tom and Ben and Carrie and their editing team, that they could piece it together. We're just having a fucking blast.
Sure.
Holy shit! I get to put on copying for them, and you know they were probably thinking we get to go in the studio and just do shit and play characters. And, like as we said, Lou was probably going, well, yes and no.
You're right.
Yes and no. You know that 4-hour bit you thought was really great? It's 12 minutes and 44 seconds.
Right.
What? Wait. Oh, hey, that's fucking pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
so true.
I would love to hear the original tracks.
I know. I'm hoping it exists somewhere. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. I don't know how this was supposed to go, but you know,
like this, it's supposed to go like a conversation. You're supposed to tell me what you think of it, and you did, and how it influenced you. That's all that matters. That's what I'm blown away when other people were as influenced by Cheech and Chong as I was. But you know,
and again, I didn't know it. It just lied dormant until we had talked about it again, and I went, yeah. I didn't realize how much, like I said, of an old friend it was. It was my after-school babysitter, you know. And I so revered the time I've never met Tommy Chong, maybe in passing, but I got to talk to Cheech Marin in the Yucatan about what an influence was this, and now it's very special. So
phenomenal. Yeah. Where can people follow you, find you?
On Twitter at Carlos Alazraqui. I have 2 Facebook pages. If one is full up of friends, that's there's one with a Garcia picture. So on Facebook, carlosalazraqui.com. I try to update. We will have a website soon for Live from the Bowl.
Nice.
Look for the movie Book of Life coming out Halloween. It's great.
Looks awesome.
It's beautiful. Jorge Gutierrez is brilliant. I play General Posada, Maria. A couple other characters. And Stephanie Miller on freespeech.org or Free Speech Radio every Wednesday morning. Coffee with Carlos. I'm on Stephanie Miller's channel 348 if you have DirecTV. Every Wednesday, schedule permitting, from 8 to 9 PST.
Awesome.
That's where you can find me hanging out and creating voices. And I will end by saying I just went to KLOS yesterday to do Fraser Smith's show from 96 to 97. I used to go sign up with Stephanie Miller. I checked in with Stephanie Miller at 4:30. We would start to write sketches at 5, stop at 7. Chris LeBoy would produce them, and we would play them on air within 2 hours. And we did lots of... I did Janet Reno, pre-Will Ferrell. I'm good boy. I'm going to sandpaper my areolas. You going swimming, Riley? It's my daughter. She's going swimming. We did sketches where I played a crazy cat lady. Here, boxcar. Here, Twilight. Here, popcorn. Oh, I'm dying. So we did what they were doing, and we would quickly produce these little pieces.
Awesome.
And you can find those. Look on StephanieMiller.com. You can find some of those old bits directly derivative and influenced by Cheech and Chong.
Of course. That's awesome. That's so good. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here. And, at your own house. I keep doing that to people. Okay. And as always, have a good thing.
Comedy on Vinyl is a production of Stolen Dress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klamm. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. Please visit stolendress.com to listen to our other podcasts, read our blogs, read our tweets, watch our videos, and read our books. Please subscribe on iTunes, and if you like us, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. You can find us on facebook.com/comedyonvinyl, Twitter @comedyonvinyl, and find everything else at comedyonvinyl.com.